Sleep. It's just as important as eating, drinking, and breathing. When we don't sleep, our minds don't function properly. A problem that Buena Vista University students struggle with, along with many other university students, is the lack of a good night's sleep. When our minds don't function properly, we can struggle at achieving our highest potentials and sometimes can lead to dangerous outcomes. For people like Assistant Professor of Theater and Director of Theater Production, David Walker, sleep deprivation can actually be pretty dangerous.
So being extremely tired in the shop experience here in the theater, or a lab experience in sciences or in art, or someplace where you're working around tools and around equipment, it can be a very dangerous situation.
Now that we know that sleeplessness is a problem, let's explore who examines and how it affects them. Director of Health Services and Wellness, Tammy Larson, spoke with us to discuss why a lack of sleep can be a general health hazard.
Students come to health services for a lot of different reasons, but we do have quite a few that come for problems with sleep.
Senior graphic design student Sarah Mueller shares her thoughts on not feeling refreshed.
Sometimes I feel refreshed on the weekend if I don't have a lot of homework, so then I can just unwind and relax and prep for the next upcoming week. Other times, if I'm doing a lot of homework and again staying up late, then obviously I'm not going to feel refreshed, and I don't really get to enjoy my weekend.
University counselor Nate Otten speaks to us about how a lack of sleep can affect one's mental health.
Yeah, students come to me fairly often about how they're not getting enough sleep. That happens fairly often. Some students will get 3 to 4 hours. Some students come to me and say, haven't gotten any lately because I've had so many projects, so many assignments, or there's other stressors that they just can't sleep.
Some university students use caffeinated beverages such as coffee, pop, and energy drinks to help them stay awake at night while working on assignments.
What I use to help me stay awake is drinking a lot of coffee. I have become a coffee addict, actually. So around 6 or 7, when I need a little pick-me-up, I'll go grab the coffee and I'll be good for the rest of the night.
Sophomore biology major Justin Forkpa explains his usual energy routine.
I am not a huge caffeine person. Actually, I don't drink coffee. I rarely drink energy drinks. So it's just go until I can't.
Although some students can view caffeine as virtually harmless, a professional has another option.
Avoid using caffeine at least 4 to 6 hours before you go to bed, because caffeine is a stimulant. It's going to make you stay awake. Avoid nicotine, does the same thing. Try not to eat for 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Try to avoid alcohol close to bedtime. Get regular exercise, and it's better in the morning or early afternoon. You don't want to exercise right before trying to go to bed. Keep the temperature in your room cool. Keep it dark.
Students are staying up late, but why are they staying up late? Is it more to do with work or for leisure?
As some may know, the creative process is not always an easy one, so you're constantly trying to create better designs and artwork, and it's not like a kind of a math where you're like, get it done, over with, moving on. It's a constant process so you have to continuously work on it.
Technology can also have several effects on a student's sleep habits.
So right before bed, whenever I am getting ready to go to bed, I always have to go on my phone, and it just is my me time, my unwinding, relaxing time. And then if I can't fall asleep or I'm not tired, then I'll typically put on an audiobook to listen to, and that'll help me go to sleep.
If I'm really tired, I naturally would just fall asleep. And if I'm not, this is really bad, but I usually stay on my phone or take a shower or do something else to kind of get me till I'm tired.
Physical issues can also derive from a lack of sleep.
There have been studies done that says that about 12 to 15 hours of no sleep or past your sleep is equivalent to about 2 to 3 beers. And so if you think about it, you probably wouldn't go to take a test drunk. but you would pull an all-nighter to study the entire time to go take the test. And technically, in your body and the way that your cognitive abilities work, it's about the same.
Larson also points out that a lack of sleep can cause sickness.
When students come to the health center for sleep problems, there oftentimes are physical symptoms that go along with that, because with lack of sleep, after a while, people get run down and tired, and then they get ill, physically ill. So colds, sore throats are very common with lack of sleep.
Otten and Larson also talked to us about what a lack of sleep can do to one's mental health.
I think a lack of sleep could affect the depression and anxiety and other mental health struggles. I think the question then becomes which causes which. So does A cause B or does B cause A? But I definitely think that if students already struggle with mental health issues such as depression or anxiety, that's only going to increase it when they're not getting enough sleep.
When you're sleep deprived, you're 10 times more likely to screen positive for depression and anxiety. So lack of sleep exacerbates stress, anxiety, depression, and so getting that extra sleep really can help even somebody that is diagnosed with depression to keep it under control.
When the mind isn't healthy, studying and keeping good grades up can be difficult for college students.
To go to class, to study, to have some social time, belong to a club or an organization, belong to an athletic team, to fit everything in, they just don't have enough hours in the day to get adequate sleep. 9 out of 10 college students do not get enough sleep.
Once enough sleep has been deprived, meltdowns can occur. This is what we can call the breaking point. Students now are trying to find ways to make up the sleep that they are lacking by napping too long, sleeping in on the weekends, and skipping classes during the week to make up for the sleep that they lost while pulling all-nighters on their homework.
My breaking point where I usually know I need more sleep is I would just start falling asleep everywhere I go. I'd be walking and my eyes would be shutting by itself, or I'd be in class and I can barely keep my head up, and that's when I'm just okay, I need to take time off and take a nap or sleep or do something. So usually that means putting up some work and maybe making it up some other time.
I can typically tell that I have reached my breaking point the next day when I am super, super cranky and just being around people makes me irritated. And then that's when I typically know that I need more sleep and that I just need to be alone by myself for a little bit. There are certain days that I do catch up on sleep, and that typically is Saturday morning. I take naps during the day on Saturday morning.
Napping is one way to kind of get some of that sleep back. But the problem with napping is people want to nap too long, and then they can't sleep at night. So it just becomes a vicious cycle. So what they need to do is sleep for 20 minutes. Really 30 minutes max.
If students have hit rock bottom, BVU professionals offer up some advice for students struggling with sleep deprivation.
If you've got somebody who becomes insomniatic and is not sleeping enough or sleeping at the wrong times, you can start to see a difference in their performance that does intersect their grades. They'll miss classes if they're just not getting enough sleep and are oversleeping. But if they're sleeping at the wrong times or they are just kind of muddling through their days and such, you'll begin to see it in their weekly projects, their larger projects, and that can be detrimental. Usually if I see somebody that's doing that, I will actually intentionally move them towards visiting the nurses. If it's something that is environmental or physical, the nurses, but if I notice that it also has other kinds of overtones, I'll suggest that maybe they see a counselor or someone that they can speak to.
I also recommend with a lot of students, I recommend journaling before they go to sleep. That usually helps kind of just get everything out of their mind, that they've been worried about, whether it's assignments, relationships, friendships, family stuff, whatever it may be. There's just something about writing things out and releasing it, especially when you're doing pen and paper. And so I've found that helps students a lot. Some of them that are struggling with insomnia or just not getting enough sleep in general, to worry less and therefore fall asleep easier and stay asleep longer.
Larson also supports the idea of journaling.
In order to get good sleep, there are some things that you need to do, and there are things that you shouldn't do. So first, I think students really need to pay attention to how much sleep they get. So it's important, in order to rectify a sleep problem, first you have to identify why they're not sleeping, or what reasons they have for not getting enough sleep, and then try to make corrections. So a sleep diary is really important. So writing down when they go to bed at night, what time they get up in the morning, and then just kind of following like a week's routine, and then figuring out the problems or things that they could improve on, and then work on those little by little.
Larson also offers up some ways to wind down at night.
So if you can't get to sleep within the first 30 minutes, get up, do something. Don't do anything that's stimulating. Do something that maybe reading a book that's calming, and then go back to bed and try to do it again. Establish a routine. We always talk to students about, take some 30 minutes just to relax, meditate, think through your day, unpack the things that happened. If there's things bothering you, write them down, get them out, cleanse yourself of those things, and you'll be able to get to sleep a little bit better.
BVU students are not unique in the fact that sleep deprivation affects students' performance. But BVU students can be leaders in finding healthy ways to be productive and to remain energized throughout the school week. Anything out of this?
Yeah.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we need to figure out why isn't the mic working?
I think it is though.
Oh, sorry. Are you getting anything out of the mic? Are you sure you're getting it out of the mic? Okay, yeah, you're getting it out of the mic.
Good?
That's good.
Good enough answers?
Yep.
You're gonna make me sound okay?
Would you like me to put that in the end? Yes. Are you all good, mic-wise?
Yeah, I can hear everybody.
This is my normal voice.